and or their community. And I'd like to also take a moment to recognize this month's contributing artist, Viola Shuri, whose beautiful artwork is displayed outside the town boardroom. So if you didn't notice when you came in, please take a moment to enjoy the artwork on your way out. In addition, today we're going to recognize the Bayshore High School girls varsity track team for their outstanding achievements this season, as well as 3 local high school students for being very proactive members of their communities. So before we begin, I'd like to ask Bayshore track coach Dre Borromeo if he would please come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Coach. So our first honorees this afternoon are the girls of the Bayshore High School varsity track team. This season, under the direction of their coaching staff, head coach Dre Borromeo, or Andres Borromeo, assistant coach Steve Borbay, and assistant coach Vinnie Rucci, the team won the Suffolk County League II Championships and also recently won the Suffolk County Large School Championship. Please join me and my fellow members of the town board in recognizing these wonderful, accomplished athletes, these female athletes, from the Bayshore High School varsity track team. So girls, come forward. I know the coach distributed your certificates of appreciation. Please come forward, meet the members of the town board, and we'll get a group photo.
Good. There's 2 people not smiling. So here we go. 1, 2. Ready?
Let's have one more round of applause for these wonderful young athletes.
Congratulations, we want to give you a little present from the team.
Oh, how cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Sure.
Good smile. Excellent. No, you're good. You're good. Oh, yeah. Excellent. You ready, ladies?
One sweatshirt maybe.
You don't have to lean in. I got you.
Every season. What do you need now?
The truth be told, every weekend when they have the high school sports section, I always look and see if there are any teams from the town of Islip that have achieved something noteworthy, and certainly these girls have. Now we have 2 more students that we're going to recognize this afternoon. Well, actually 3, but 2 right now. They're from Brentwood High School, and it's Destiny Eusebio and Keanu Waters. Destiny and Keanu recently emailed me, kind of independent of each other, but it turned out what they had to say was very similar and really it really impressed me enormously. And they talked about a way to engage students so that they could understand better what their elected officials were all about, what they did, etc. And so I invited them to come in, and we sat and we really had an interesting chat, the 3 of us. And they talked about an opportunity, and we're going to run with it, and that's Meet Your Elected Official Day for high school students to kind of get to know their leaders in local government and learn more about how government works. I was so impressed by, first of all, they are just delightful. You're going to meet them. The very, very respectful tone of their emails and the fact that they both took the initiative to write and propose what I think is a very worthwhile program. As a result, we will be implementing Meet Your Elected Official Day, and for that reason, I'd like to ask Keanu, who is also president of the Student Senate, no surprise, and Destiny, who was also too very much involved in very many activities at Brentwood High School, to please join us as we present them with these certificates of recognition.
Here are your certificates.
Right on cue.
Nice to meet you.
Very good to
I look
meet
forward
you.
to
Thank
seeing
you
you at the
for
next one.
idea.
You know, Councilman Mullen was just reminding me, because she participates in Shadow Day every year and brings a couple of students here to Town Hall so they can see up close and personal what town government is all about. But this, I thought, was particularly impressive because it came from them, you know. So we know that this is our future. They're showing leadership skills at a very young age, and they're very, very impressive. It was interesting, too, when we were chatting, it was pretty soon after we had learned about the $15 million grant that we received from the state of New York for the construction or the retrofit of a community center in Brentwood. And there's a local kind of planning committee, and they're seeking input from the community. So I asked them as students what would they like to see. And it's interesting, the two suggestions that Destiny and Keanu had, in the meetings we've had so far, no one said anything. So at the last meeting, I brought up what your suggestions were. And, you know, people talked about some of the things they'd like to see in the center. But they suggested that there be kind of like a cafe area where kids could go and hang and just, you know, mingle with one another and visit with one another, but also a quiet place to study. So it was really quite interesting, and I know the superintendent is engaging the students in the high school to get their input on what they'd like to see in this community center. So keep doing what you're doing. We're very, very proud of you. Thank you for coming here today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, and our next honoree is a young woman from Bayshore High School, Shakira Thompson. Shakira, why don't you come forward? Shakira, like her peers from Brentwood, she had a concern, an idea that prompted her to reach out to her local government. And I'd just like to take a moment to pause and recognize that this is truly what local government is all about. Creating a dialogue and being responsive to the needs of residents of all ages who bring to our attention suggestions that improve their quality of life. Shakira wrote an eloquent, again, very respectful letter to our planning department suggesting improvements that would enhance pedestrian traffic along Ross Avenue and Perkle Street in Bayshore, and that is near the high school. The planning department was so impressed by her letter that she made excellent sense, and within a few days, crews were out there at the site trimming back vegetation and installing street lighting to make students feel safer when walking to and from school. So please join me in thanking and recognizing Shakira Thompson. Okay, so we will now begin with our recognition of Black History Month. And our first honoree this afternoon is Police Officer Edward Grossi, who's been a member of the Suffolk County Police Department for the past 16 years. In 2012, Officer Grossi became the PAL coordinator for Central Islip, Brentwood, and Bayshore, a program that only had 5 active programs. In his first 3 years with the PAL, he grew the program to include 25 active athletic programs, including basketball, lacrosse, and karate. Officer Grossi has used his position with PAL to mentor hundreds of children, teaching them to take pride in where they live and to become involved in community cleanups, which in total has collected, you ready, 25 tons of garbage in a 7-year period. Officer Grossi, why don't you come forward? He's not here. You know what, I'll put it aside and hopefully he will be here.
People's names that I didn't cross out are not here.
Okay. So then we will go and ask Councilman Cochran, who has the next honoree to recognize, and that is Anthony Young. Anthony, you want to come forward?
Thank you, Supervisor. Congratulations. Anthony Young Sr. is the president of the Suffolk County
Caribbean American Culture Association. Anthony has been a pillar in his community for nearly 3 decades, owning auto mechanic shops in Brentwood and Central Islip. His Caribbean roots were never far behind, and he shared his love for the steel pan music with the youngsters in the community. Developing a steel pan youth orchestra, his positive influence and camaraderie with the children built lasting friendships and kept their youth away from negative activities. They performed in the Apollo Theater in Harlem and various events in Brooklyn.
You'll have to come perform here.
Even before the formation of the Suffolk County Caribbean American Culture Association, Anthony was creating community events and activities that were brought young and old together to share their heritage, whether it was through formal pan music lessons, to backyard barbecues, Mother Day dances, or boat rides on the bay. Anthony is a dedicated and selfless community leader. Please join in recognizing Anthony Young Sr. There you go. Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations. Awesome. Thank you. So the weather has wreaked a little havoc with us today, but we will move on. So in Academy Awards style, here to present our next honorees are Councilman James O'Connor and Receiver of Taxes Alexis Wyke.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome, you're welcome. Jim, where is it? It's there.
Good afternoon. Today we're presenting to a couple in Brentwood, residents Judy and Norman Daniels, in the category of Community Service Professionals. The Daniels were both born in Brooklyn, New York, and met while attending Andrew Jackson High School in Queens. They married shortly after that, and moved to Brentwood and started a family. Judy received her associate's degree from Suffolk Community College and is currently attending SUNY Empire College, pursuing a bachelor's in human services. Norman received his bachelor's in sociology from SUNY New Paltz and a master's from SUNY Albany.
Together, the Daniels are intrinsically involved in the Brentwood community, coaching track at Brentwood High School, coaching PAL athletics, sponsoring the Brentwood Public Library Kwanzaa program, and as educators at Suffolk Community College. In 2017, the Danielses were recognized by the Brentwood Board of Education's Black History program. Please join us in honoring the Daniels for their dedication and commitment to the residents of Brentwood.
Congratulations. Thank you for everything.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Paula is not here. Hopefully she will arrive. She is. Oh, great. Terrific. Come forward. So our next honoree is Paula Moore. And I'd ask Councilwoman Bergen if she would come forward and make that presentation.
Thank you, Supervisor Carpenter. So our next honoree is joining us here at the podium, Paula Moore. Paula Moore has been a member of the Brentwood community for more than 40 years, and in those years, she has demonstrated a true passion for service. She has served the community at the Brentwood Union Free School District as an administrator for 28 years, and she's currently serving her 3rd term as the first vice president of the Brentwood Board of Education. She is active in the First Baptist Church of Bayshore and was a founder and board member of the First Head Start program in New York City. She has also served on one of the most prestigious national associations of business women, and she also is the co-chair of a scholarship committee awarding thousands of dollars to minorities graduating high school as seniors throughout Suffolk County. She's an active member of the My Brother's Keeper Steering Committee, as well as the subcommittee co-chairwoman. She's active with the Girl Scouts. How do you have time for all of this? She's active with Suffolk County PAL, Brentwood Youth Activities, Brentwood High School Green Machine, New York State Assembly, and the Suffolk County Legislature. Paula has always believed that God has given her so much, and her goal is to give back in his name. So please join us in recognizing Paula today. Congratulations.
Marion Reed is, so I'd ask Town Clerk Olga Murray to please come forward and make the next presentation.
Thank you, Supervisor. Is Marion here? Yes. Marion, come on up. There you go. How you doing? Marion, I've heard so many nice things about you. It's really my pleasure to be up here with you today. I have the pleasure of presenting our award today to Marion Reed, Deputy Director of Long Island Housing Services. Marion is one of those people who quietly goes about making other people's lives better without seeking accolades for herself. For nearly 25 years, Marion has worked to protect civil rights for fellow Long Islanders. Ms. Reed brings her lifelong understanding of Long Island's cultural geography and her experience with housing industries to bear to make positive changes for all. Her hard work advocating for minorities who were discriminatorily evicted by Mastic Beach Village government without the protection of eviction laws recently made headlines. Marion works tirelessly on behalf of renters and homeowners across Long Island, meeting their accommodation and modification needs. She takes on cases against landlords and housing complexes and has been successful in ensuring residents' quality of life and that all those who strive to can achieve the American dream of home ownership. Please join me today in honoring Marion Reed. Elisa.
One more smile with them. See it. Good. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to see where we left off with Officer Grossi. We won't go back from the beginning. We'll give you a copy of it. So we talked about how you added all of those programs and everything. When you got there were only 5, and now there are 20 some odd, so we're very proud of what you've done. Actually, 25 athletic programs were added. So Officer Grossi has organized coat drives, Thanksgiving dinners for the homeless, toy drives for Toys for Tots. He's taking kids to Boys to Men in May and Girls Talk in April, which offers career guidance and college counseling. The list goes on and on. He's a member of the NAACP and first vice president of the Islip chapter. Officer Grossi is a shining example of what it means to be a mentor, a leader, and a friend. Please join me in recognizing Suffolk County Police Officer Edward Grossi.
Ready?
Thank you.
So the one honoree who was not able to get here, I would ask Mary Kate Mullen, Councilman Mullen, to please come up and just read his bio, because he too has contributed so much to our community, and I think he deserves to be recognized for that.
Thank you, Supervisor Carpenter. I have the pleasure of recognizing Rowan Murphy, a professional motivational speaker and resident of Central Islip. Rowan's story is one of incredible inspiration and a compelling story of overcoming adversity. A rare birth defect required Rowan's legs to be amputated at the age of 4. Doctors told the Murphy family that Rowan would require 24-hour care for the rest of his life. Well, he proved them wrong. Rowan began wrestling in the East Islip School District under the direction of Coach Guy Leggio. Leggio. After an unimpressive first year, Rowan went on to become 3-time All-League wrestler, including winning the League 3 title as a senior in 2001. He became a two-time All-Suffolk County wrestler, placing fourth as a junior and second as a senior. Rowan went on to attend Penn State University, where he wrestled for one of the best teams in the United States and graduated from Penn State in 2005. Rowan's indomitable spirit and easygoing personality have taught everyone whose lives he's touched that nothing is too difficult to overcome. His motto is, never say can't. Rowan is a nationally recognized professional motivational speaker, touring the country speaking about overcoming adversity and accepting the differences between ourselves and other people. He exemplifies that anything is possible and that what we should always chase is our dreams. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to be here, but I would like to recognize Rowan and just congratulate him on this honor, and he really, truly is an inspiration to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Councilwoman. And I'm so glad that even though he wasn't able to be here, we could share that with everyone, because I think everyone would agree that it truly is inspirational. One more thing I would just, before we go to the agenda, we had a delivery in the office yesterday from the students in Mrs. Scotto Lavino's class at St. Mary's School, and it was these Valentines, and they were thank you Valentines from the pre-K through 5A. And if I can find them, I have two, and I want to share them with you. And they were addressed to the supervisor, but I know it goes to all the members of the town board and really to all elected officials. And it was, your service to our town, we must find time to stop and thank the people who make a difference in our lives. And the other one, keeping our town safe, especially during snowstorms. How fortuitous today. But they included a quote in many of them from Mother Teresa. It's not about how much you give, but how much love we put into giving. So on that very uplifting note, I want to thank everyone for being here today and sharing with us as we honor these exemplary individuals in our community and our students. So thank you very much, and we will get right to the agenda. But before we do that, I want to recognize we have a certificate to honor the artist whose work is hanging in the lobby. I mentioned it earlier. Please make sure everyone takes a moment to enjoy it, and that's Viola Shuri. If Viola would come forward and accept this certificate. Taking photos. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Well, I can make yours now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no public hearings scheduled for today, so we'll begin the afternoon with anyone who wishes to address the town board. We do have a couple of cards. Glad the weather didn't keep you away. Again, 3 minutes, so please come forward. Just to remind everyone, it's not a question and answer time, but rather for you to come share your concerns or praise for the town board. So the first person is Ed Labasi. Ed?
My name is Ed Labasi. Thank you. Okay. My name is Ed Labasi, and I own A&P Aircraft Maintenance, and I've been based at the MacArthur Airport for almost 2 decades. When I was 19, I opened the company up, and I've owned it and been in the aircraft maintenance business for 47 years. I'm here for one simple request and one desire, and that is what you call Hangar 1 at MacArthur Airport. I would like to rent. I don't want to restore it, knock it down. I don't want to own the hangar door. I don't want to do anything more than rent it on a monthly basis over a time period that we can all come to at an affordable, reasonable rent that I can afford to continue my business and that you people can afford to continue to make money on the town of Islip. For the past 2 years, this coming April, the building has been vacant. The electric runs 24 hours a day, the heat runs 24 hours a day, and now tenants of the Shelter tie-downs have tapped into your electric and are heating their engines 24 hours a day. The building had the sprinkler system explode, water has come down. Now you have black mold growing through all of the offices and rooms in the building as we stand here today. I have photos and documents to show you on that. I had spoken to the commissioner about it, and I was told that's the way the building will be rented. All of this started a few years ago. For 15 years, I was the sole provider of all the airlines at MacArthur Airport. My landlord, Shelter, told me they were going to knock down my building to put up a hotel. At that point in time, I was asked to put in for an RFP. I put in for an RFP. I was told I was the most responsive bidder. After meeting with the commissioner, my financials were challenged, and I was told that the town no longer wants to negotiate with me on the building. I have documents to that effect. They put a second bid out. It was canceled. A third bid out. Nobody bid on it. Nobody went for it. A fourth bid out. I was the only person that put in any documents to bid on the hangar. I was the only person at the meeting. No one has an interest in a 50-year-old building based on the RFPs that have come out at $285,000 a year for each year of lease. In the past 19 years that I've been at Islip, I have put into the community $4,300,000 in excess of that money to the community. That's all that I want to do. I want to continue to run my general aviation business. I do not do corporate jet. I no longer do the airlines. I am called each week by the airlines, asked to take the contract back. They are not satisfied with the people that are doing it. I want to rent Hangar 1 on an agreed-upon term and money financially able for both of us to live with. I thank you for your time. I have for each of the board members and supervisor one of my presentations today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ed. Next speaker, Anna Martin from Shapiro, Carroll, and Barak. Oh, okay. Okay, very good. And our final speaker, Greg Pepe.
Greg Pepe, Islip, New York. What I presented today and handed into each one of the board members is an agreement for the use and occupancy on town property, town of Islip property, for shellfish cultivation. And this agreement was signed by the supervisor, Angie Carpenter, and Mr. Cochran back in 2016, which allows him to lease a 2.4-acre parcel of underground water for the cultivation, harvesting, and selling of shellfish. I feel that this is a conflict of interest according to the town code law, and this lease actually runs for 5 years from August 5th, 2016 through August 2021. And if we look at this, to actually apply for this, you had to be put on a waiting list. And there are people now waiting to lease one of these parcels, and I can't see why a paid councilman earning salary is allowed now to lease a parcel of underground water owned by the town of Islip to enrich himself as far as the resale of the shellfish and harvesting. Now, if you look on his disclosure statement for 2016, it shows that not only does he have the electrical inspection company, but also J.A. Cochran and Son actually, he's showing he has this property as of 2016, meaning he was cultivating and possibly harvesting and reselling for the previous year, 2015. Okay, but if you go to the disclosure statement for 2017, he's shown as J.A. Cochran and Son, member digger, okay, in 2017, meaning he was already harvesting and selling these shellfish back in 2016, okay? So, I mean, I can't see how someone can actually be holding position at, say, $80,000 salary on the taxpayers as councilman and then also enriching himself, directly involving himself with the Shellfish, which is town-owned property under the Department of Environmental Conservation, which is Islip's DEC. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bevay. Just as a point of clarification, I do remember very distinctly when Mr. Cochran made a presentation publicly in this very room after having waited on the waiting list. It was approved. He recused himself or abstained on the vote, but the rest of the town board members approved it. But he has since divested himself of this, so there is no conflict. But thank you for coming down. I'm sorry, Counsel?
I did have a Board of Ethics opinion prior to entering into this agreement that said it was okay.
Okay, very good, thank you. That's it as far as anyone who has signed up to speak. We will now move to a motion to conclude the public hearing.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen, second. By Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? The public portion is closed. We will now move to the items on the agenda. The first being the bid awards. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion. Motion by Councilman Cochran.
Second.
Second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Next are the option year resolutions. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Next item is an authorization for the supervisor to execute a one-year extension with Albrecht, Vigiano, Zurich and Company for auditing and accounting services. I'm sorry. Well, then we'll put the glasses back on. Item 3 are the appropriation transfers. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Next item, authorization for the supervisor to execute a one-year extension with Albrecht, Vigiano, Zurich and Company for auditing and accounting services. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Mullen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. The next item is approval to amend the capital budget, the 2019 Town of Islip capital budget. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second. Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Is approved. The next is a meeting of the Town of Islip Foreign Trade Zone Board. Motion to convene.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman
Second.
O'Connor, second by Councilwoman Bergen. We have a motion and a second. We are convened, a quorum being present. Mr. Hemingway.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the Foreign Trade Zone Board. My name is Brad Hemingway, and I'm the Executive Director for the Town of Islip Foreign Trade Zone Authority, located at 1 Trade Zone Drive in Ronkonkoma. Today, I have 3 items for your consideration. First item being approval of the minutes from the October 16th, 2018 meeting of the Town of Islip Foreign Trade Zone Board.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second.
Second.
By Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is approved.
Second item is authorization for the Town of Islip Foreign Trade Zone Authority to execute its option to renew a landscape contract with Milano Brothers Landscaping and Design for an additional 1 year.
Any questions? Motion
Motion.
by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved.
Next and last is authorization for the Town of Islip Foreign Trade Zone Authority Executive Director, me, to assign a sublease to ACA International LLC.
Are there any questions? Motion? Motion. Motion by Councilman Mullen, second by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved.
No further items. at this
Motion
time.
to adjourn by
Second.
Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilwoman Bergen. We stand adjourned. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Next item is the cleanup and secure certain properties in the Town of Islip. Cleanup and board ups. Taryn, thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Supervisor, members of the Town Board, Town Clerk, Taryn Podinski, Assistant Town Attorney, 655 Main Street, Islip, New York. Number 1 has been withdrawn as it is now in compliance. Number 2, to board and clean up the premises located at 6 Mindris Avenue, Brentwood. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured doors with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Are there any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second. By Councilman Mullen. All those in favor?
Abstain.
Opposed? We have 4 in favor, 1 abstention. It is approved. Next.
Number 3, to clean up the premises located at 9 O'Kane Street, Central Islip. On this property, there now exists high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises. Excuse me.
Are there any questions?
I have a question, Supervisor. Taryn, with respect to that second floor, the photo shows windows that
The tarps?
Yes.
I believe that secured to the fire marshal's satisfactory for them. They only put it on for cleanup. However, they could put it on for board up in the future, but right now they just wanted to clean up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion?
Motion.
A motion by Councilman Cochran, second. By Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. We have 4 in favor, 1 abstention.
Number 4 has been withdrawn as it is now in compliance. Number 5, to board and clean up the premises located at 16 Muncie Road, Bayshore. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors, an unsecured detached garage with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, with unregistered vehicles, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Is this boat on the property or is it the adjacent?
I'm not quite sure, but if it is, it'll be part of the cleanup, if it's unregistered.
Yeah. Are there any questions? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second.
Second.
By Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstain. We have 4 in favor, 1 abstention. Next.
Number 6, to board and clean up the premises located at 24 McGowan Lane, Central Islip. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors, high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Abstain. We have 4 in favor, 1 abstention. It is approved.
Number 7 has been withdrawn as it is now in compliance. Number 8, to board up the premises located at 40 Perry Street, Brentwood. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? We have 4 in favor, 1 abstention. It is approved.
Number 9, to board and clean up the premises located at 71 Deach Street, Central Islip. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Are there any questions? Hearing none. Motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. We have 4 in favor, 1 abstention.
Number 10, to board and clean up the premises located at 118 Garrettson Avenue, Islip. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists an unsecured window and door, an unsecured detached garage with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Mullen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. 4 in favor, 1 abstention. It is approved.
Number 11, to clean up the premises located at 127 Harrisburg Street, Bayshore. On this property, there now exists high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions? Abstain. We have 4 in favor, 1 abstention. The motion is approved.
Number 12, to board and clean up the premises located at 153 Claywood Drive, Brentwood. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors with litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilwoman Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Abstention?
Abstention.
We have 4 in favor, 1 abstention. It is approved.
Number 13, to board and clean up the premises located at 364 Evergreen Avenue, Central Islip. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors, an unsecured shed with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Mullen, second. By Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed?
Abstention.
4 in favor, 1 abstention. It is approved.
Number 14 has been withdrawn as it is now in compliance. Number 15, to board and clean up the premises located at 1607 Union Boulevard, Bayshore. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Mullen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor?
Abstain.
We have 4 in favor, 1 abstention. It is approved.
Number 16, to board and clean up the premises located at 4311 Express Drive North, Ronkonkoma. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors, an unsecured shed with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Mullen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? 4 in favor, 1 abstention. It is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Taryn. Next item on the agenda, authorization of supervisor to apply for and accept grant funding from the Local Initiative Support Corporation, the Zombies 2.0, for zombie and vacant properties remediation and prevention. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran. Second by Councilman O'Connor. We have 4 in favor, 1 abstention. It is approved. Next item, let's see here. Item 9 is the meeting of the Town of Islip Industrial Development Agency. I'd ask for a motion to convene.
Motion.
This board by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilman O'Connor. The Town of Islip Industrial Agency Board meeting is convened, a quorum being present. Mr. Mannix.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the agency board. William Mannix, Executive Director, 40 Nassau Avenue, Islip. We have a number of items for your consideration today, the first of which is approval of the minutes from the January 15th meeting.
Any question on the minutes? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran. Second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? The minutes are approved.
Next item on the agenda is a new project, and it's an inducement resolution for 46 Windsor LLC. This would involve the construction of an approximately 42,000 square foot twin building complex on Windsor Avenue. It is speculative in nature. These are industrial, separate industrial units. The project will be, the project owner will be investing $4.5 million into the project and is expected to bring 52 new jobs to the area.
That's really great. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second. Second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? Is approved.
The next 3 items on the agenda are all very similar in that they all involve a financing mechanism called a mezzanine loan, in which there is, in the event of a default on the loan, there's a transfer of all membership interests in the company to the lender, and so that requires a pre-approval on the part of this board because all of our agreements require that you authorize any changes in ownership.
Okay.
The first of those would involve Gullhaven Commons, and located on Carlton Avenue in Central Islip.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second.
Second.
Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
Next item on the agenda involves 878 Veterans Memorial Highway. The company is Hop Hog Holdings LLC. This is the building where the Allstate Company is headquartered, on Vets Highway in Hopog.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Mullen, second by Councilman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved.
And the last of these three that involve the mezzanine loans is a sister building to the previous project. This also involves Hopog Holdings LLC. It's on a separate parcel, and this is a twin office tower complex.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Is approved.
Number 7 on the agenda is an amended authorizing resolution for 25 Andrea LLC. You've already authorized this project. The owner has decided to do a 1031 exchange, which means that you need to authorize the transfer of property to the 1031 entity.
Are there any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Mullen. Second by Councilman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? Is approved.
The next item on the agenda is very similar to the previous one. We've already authorized for a project called Ultraflex International. They have also decided to do a 1031 exchange, and you need to approve the 1031 entity.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Is approved.
The last item on the agenda is a correction of a resolution which you authorized at our January 15th meeting. This one involves our contract with AVZ. There was a mistake in that resolution, and we're correcting it with this resolution, and that would terminate the previous resolution.
Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Is there any other business to come before us?
I have none.
And to obtain a motion to adjourn by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Mullen. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much, Bill. Next item on the agenda, item 10, authorization for the town clerk to advertise for a public hearing to consider amending the Islip Town Uniform Traffic Code. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion? Motion by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 11, authorization for supervisor to enter into agreement with the CDA for calendar year 2018, whereby the town will provide certain services related to code enforcement to designated areas. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second. Second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Next, item 12, authorization for supervisor to enter into a license agreement with Michael Massino for the operation of an organic farm. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Bergen. Second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Next item, approval to permit the Youth Bureau to host drop-off sites throughout the town to collect pass-through donations for the Teens for Genes program. Tim is doing a fine job in the Youth Bureau, and on this and many other programs, one that is particularly successful. Any questions? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 14 is an authorization of supervisor to enter into a professional services agreement with Islandia Animal Hospital to provide New York State licensed veterinary services to the town of Islip Animal Shelter and adopt a pet center on an as-needed basis. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Next item, authorization for supervisor to enter into a professional services agreement with Faithful Friends Veterinary Services to provide New York State licensed veterinary services to the town of Islip Animal Shelter and adopt a pet center on an as-needed basis. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Next is meeting of the Islip Resource Recovery Agency. I call on board to convene a motion. Motion to convene by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman O'Connor. We have a motion and a second. The board is convened, the quorum being present.
Madam Chair,
Marty, nice to see you.
members of the agency board, Martin Ballou. President of the Islip Resource Recovery Agency, located at 401 Main Street, Islip, New York. I have a couple of items for consideration today. The first is the approval of the minutes of the January 18th, 2019 Agency Board meeting.
Are there any questions?
I don't have the minutes. I would move to approve them, I'm sure, but I don't have them.
May have been a slight mistake.
All right, why don't we move on to the other items, and perhaps someone can call down to the office and get them. So we'll move on to the next item, which is the...
Next item is authorizing resolution for the President to execute on behalf of the agency an amendment to the existing agreement between the agency and Clean Energy for the operation of a compressed natural gas fueling station located at the MacArthur Resource Recovery Facility.
Sure. Councilman?
Commissioner, we're all partners on the board when that station opened up. How's it doing? We even got like is it doing well?
Yeah, we're doing well, except it went down yesterday and had to fly in parts from California, and it's still not up, so.
But the community's using it other than...
Yeah, there's other vehicles that use it besides the Department of Environmental Control.
Great, thank you.
Right.
I make a motion.
So we have a motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. So we will recess this meeting. We'll continue with the agenda so that when we have that... Right, okay, so we'll just recess this for now. Motion to recess by Councilman O'Connor, second by myself. The meeting is recessed, and we'll put this aside and we'll get those minutes. Thank you. Item 17, authorization of supervisor to execute a connection agreement on behalf of Sewer District Number 1 with the authorized representatives of Lexington Village Condominium, Suffolk County Sewer District Number 3, County of Suffolk, and Suffolk County Department of Health Services. Any questions? Motion. Motion by Councilman Bergen, second. Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. You have no idea. I just heard someone say finally. When I first got involved in government, which is 26 years ago, one of the first community meetings I held was at Lexington, or was invited to, was at Lexington Village Condominiums, because they were having trouble with their sewage treatment plant, and the county wanted to shut them down. So this is an issue that has been going on for years and years and years, so it's great to finally see a resolution. Going back. Marty, I don't think there'll be any questions, but we'll, before, oh, wait a minute. Did I call on that? On item 17. We did, we called on that. Yes, I did that, comment after. Okay, so before we go on to the next resolution, let's go back to the recessed meeting of the Islip Resource Recovery Agency so that we can address the approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Are there any questions on the minutes? Motion by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved.
There's
Thank you very
no
much.
further business.
Motion to adjourn by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Mullen. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much, Marty. We now move to item 18. The special events. And we have quite a few. No surprise, we have some St. Patty's Day parades and runs and walks, and it's a busy time of the year now. It's starting, the weather is going to be getting nicer. Actually, we were spared, it looks like, knock wood, a snowstorm today. So with that, motion to approve the special events calendar. Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. We now go to item 20 on the agenda. 19. Thank God for our clerk. An authorization of supervisors to execute a consent order with the New York Department of Environmental Conservation for property located at Long Island MacArthur Airport. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion? Motion by Councilman Bergen. Second? Second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Now we will move to item 20, authorization for the supervisor to enter into an agreement with JDC Media for the advertising concession within certain designated areas of Long Island MacArthur Airport. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion by Councilman Bergen, second. Second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 21 is an authorization for the supervisor to execute an agreement with Arcadis Inc. for ongoing environmental services at Long Island MacArthur Airport. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Cochran. Second. Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Next, item 22, authorization of the town clerk to advertise for a public hearing in regards to the lease with Martin's Aerosport LLC for a portion of the property at the Bayport Aerodrome. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion? Motion by Councilman Mullen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Next is an authorization for the supervisor to execute any documentation necessary to register and remove users on the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services Peace Officer Registry. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 24 is an authorization for the supervisor to execute any and all documents required in connection with project ID 8317, reconstruction of Terry Street being funded by the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York. I have a feeling there's much cheering on Terry Street that this is finally happening. Thank you, Councilwoman. Motion by Councilman Mullins, second. Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. And thank you for everyone that helped work on this. I know this is an issue that has been brewing for a long time. Next is an authorization for the town clerk to advertise the public hearing on the transfer of 12 Peters Boulevard in Central Islip and 1407 Potter Boulevard in Bayshore under the CDA's direct sale affordable housing programs. Any question? Hearing none. Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. And I'm sure there are going to be two families very, very happy to be in these homes. I see the director of the CDA is here, Mr. Bowers. Thank you guys for all the work you do. Next is the approval to permit the Town of Islip Youth Bureau to host drop-off sites throughout the town to collect pass-through donations from the Prom Dress Boutique program. Anyone who hasn't gone there should pop in and see it. People are so generous donating these prom dresses and tuxedos and accessories for students to come in and, take what they need. And Tim, you guys do a good job. I know you just relocated it over in 401, and it really is lovely, so thank you. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Mullins, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 27 is an approval to permit the Town of Islip Youth Bureau to host drop-off sites throughout the town to collect pass-through donations for the Easter Basket Collection Program. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Next item is an authorization of supervisor to terminate the agreement between the Town of Islip and Great Atlantic Shellfish Farm Inc., LLC. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. We have 4 in favor, 1 recusal. The motion is approved. Item 29, appointment of Dorina Barksdale to the Islip Housing Authority Board. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Next item are the bond resolutions. Joe, did you want to come forward? If there are any questions? Hi, Joe.
Good afternoon, everyone. Joe Ludwig, Comptroller for the Town of Islip, 401 Main Street. If there are any specific questions, I will certainly answer them. Otherwise, what you have in front of you are just the same generic bond resolutions we do year in, year out. They are to help replace our aging infrastructure as well as our aging equipment. The one quote-unquote out of the ordinary item you see, and we have discussed this in the past, is the total of $6 million in design projects specific for the airport. And again, the intent there is that as long as we can have a shovel-ready project, there is stimulus money that is available, which will allow us to tap into that with having that design-ready project, shovel-ready project, I should say. So that's why you'll see those items on there. Other than that, like I said, it is the same stuff year in, year out. If there's any questions, though, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Joe. I know that was certainly the case in the county. You had to have these projects in the capital plan to show that there was a willingness to move forward with the project so that you could secure that grant funding.
Correct.
And I thank you for your work on this. Are there any specific questions? We'll go to each bond resolution
I just have a
separately.
general question.
Sure.
So
Councilman?
Joe, if my math is correct, and we tried this on Friday and it wasn't, so hopefully it's better today. But by my math, we're borrowing $1.5 million less dollars than we did last year.
The number sounds about right. I don't have the final total in front of me. And again, last year's borrowings had some unusual items as well, specifically the animal shelter. This year, we've kind of just swapped out some of those unusual items. But yes, overall, we are borrowing less than we did last year.
I had last year at 26,545, 500, and this year at 25,090,000.
Sounds about right to me.
About $1.5 million less.
Correct.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. And I know that there was some talk about the feds raising the rates, and they declined to do so, but they are going to. So I thank you for getting this all together so that we take advantage of the better rates.
Absolutely, yeah. And discussing it with our fiscal advisor, he did kind of mention the same thing, that they weren't sure what the rates were going to do, but it is more beneficial for us to take advantage now while the rates are still low.
Okay, first bond resolution authorizing construction of sidewalk improvements in the town of Islip. Are there any questions? Motion? A motion by Councilman O'Connor, second. Second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? I'm so sorry. On the bond resolutions, we have to have a roll call vote on the resolution.
Councilwoman Bergen.
Yes.
Councilman Cochran.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mullen.
Yes.
And Supervisor Carpenter.
Yes.
Motion unanimously passes.
The second bond resolution is for various purposes, immediate. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by roll call vote. We have a motion and a second. Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilwoman Bergen. On the vote, roll call.
Councilwoman Bergen.
Yes.
Councilman Cochran.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mullen.
Yes.
Supervisor Carpenter.
Yes.
Motion unanimously passes.
Third bond resolution authorizing the construction of road improvements in the town. Lord knows we get a lot of requests for these, and you guys have been doing a fantastic job. We're really hacking away at it. So thank you, Commissioner, and to your staff. They're doing a great job. Motion.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran. Roll call on the vote.
Councilwoman Bergen.
Yes.
Councilman Cochran.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mullen.
Yes.
Supervisor Carpenter.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Fourth bond resolution authorizes the construction of parking lot improvements in the town. Again, this is something that is really needed and necessary, and I would like to, for the record, just again thank the commissioner and staff. They did an incredible job at the parking lots in Bay Shore, and I know that we're hopefully moving forward with another project for some sidewalk improvements, because we saw some people with baby carriages walking in the roads, and it's not a safe situation for sure. But a lot has been done in that endeavor. Thank you. Motion? Motion by Councilwoman Mullen, second by Councilwoman Bergen. On the vote, roll call.
Councilwoman Bergen.
Yes.
Councilman Cochran.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mullen.
Yes.
Supervisor Carpenter.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. I just want to confirm that second was Councilwoman Bergen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
The fifth bond resolution authorizes the construction of drainage improvements. We've had some pretty nasty weather, not snowstorms, and we were so grateful. We had two potential snowstorms last month that turned into be rain events, but with rain comes water and flooding, and areas of the town that we had never seen flooding in before have been. So our crews were out there pumping ahead of the storm to make sure drains were cleared, and pumping after because there's just no place for the water to go. So there are a lot of areas that are going to be happy to see this happening today. Motion? Motion by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman Cochran. Roll call on the vote.
Councilwoman Bergen.
Yes.
Councilman Cochran.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mullen.
Yes.
Supervisor Carpenter.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. The next bond resolution authorizes the acquisition of heavy-duty vehicles and equipment in the town. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman O'Connor. Roll call on the vote.
Councilwoman Bergen.
Yes.
Councilman Cochran.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mullen.
Yes.
Supervisor Carpenter.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Seventh bond resolution authorizes construction of improvements to town facilities. Motion.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman O'Connor. Roll call on the vote.
Councilwoman Bergen.
Yes.
Councilman Cochran.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mullen.
Yes.
Supervisor Carpenter.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
The eighth bond resolution is the construction of park improvements in the town. A lot has been done, certainly in Clemente with the pool, and more to come, but there's still other parks in the town that need attention. I know that there's work planned for Byron, and many of the other parks townwide. Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilwoman Mullen.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor? Roll call on the vote, I'm sorry.
Councilwoman
Yes.
Bergen. Councilman Cochran.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mullen.
Yes.
Supervisor Carpenter.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. The ninth and final bond resolution authorizes the preparation of design plans and specifications for proposed improvements along LaGuardia Airport. This is the, what we referred to before about including in the plan so that we can get that grant funding.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second. Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor, roll call on the vote.
Councilwoman Bergen.
Yes.
Councilman Cochran.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mullen.
Yes.
Supervisor Carpenter.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Joe. We move to item 31. The next item is an authorization for the town of Islip to host drop-off sites and accept donations of pet food and supplies on behalf of Long Island Cares, Baxter's Pet Pantry for their 2019 legislative pet food drive challenge. Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Next, we move the next item, 32, approval of a list of individuals submitted by the 5 ambulance corps for participation in the 2018 Active Volunteer Ambulance Workers Service Program, Service Award Program, LOSAP, and this is last year's, 2018 is correct. Yes?
Yep.
Okay. Motion? I'll make that motion. Second? Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. We have 4 in favor, 1 recusal. It is approved. Final item on the agenda is approval to rescind the contract award to Print Corp. Inc. for layout, service, printing, and distribution of the recreation brochure. Any questions? Motion by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. And with that, I will entertain a motion to go into executive session, and then we will return. We have a motion by Councilman O'Connor, a second by Councilman Bergen to go into executive session. All in favor? Opposed? We will move into executive session. We will return when we're done. Motion to adjourn
Second.
by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran. We stand